Okay, so next section, what your PM does and doesn't do. So it's good to understand if you're going to hire a third-party property manager, what are they actually going to do versus what are the things that's more so your responsibility. So the top here, these are the things that your property manager is responsible for. So that's screening and placing tenants, like we talked about, collecting rent, paying your monthly bills, utility, landscaping, unit turns, all that stuff, handling evictions, like we mentioned earlier, and dealing with tenant needs, wants, demands, complaints, all that stuff, just interfacing with the tenant. Those are their responsibilities. The things they are not responsible for is paying property taxes. I actually have one of my properties, they send the tax bill to my property management company and they'll usually just forward it to me, but it's not their responsibility to actually pay the property tax. A lot of times, if you work with a lender, you can pay into an escrow account where your lender will actually pay your property tax so that you're not having to set money aside every month to pay that bill when it comes up. You're just paying it automatically with your normal mortgage payment. And so you have money set aside in escrow to pay those property taxes. Same thing with paying insurance premiums. Your property manager isn't responsible. And again, if you pay into escrow with your lender, they're responsible for paying that. The third one, dealing with insurance agents, carriers, and placing new insurance. That's not one of their responsibilities as well. And the last one is dealing with major projects and renovations. I want to put an asterisk on that last one because a lot of the times your property manager actually can be a project manager. You just have to talk to them and see if that's a service they offer and what their costs are for managing projects like that.
I think it's such a great point, Emil, because most of this stuff, I would argue all of this stuff is not set in stone. So much of your property management agreement is customizable if you're just having that upfront conversation with your property manager and potentially willing to pay more for some of these additional services that aren't traditional. So I know property managers, for example, that do pay property taxes and will handle major projects and renovations. Their clients are just paying a little bit more for that service. So depending on truly how passive you'd like this investment to be, just have that conversation on the front end. And that can absolutely be part of your questionnaire as you're looking to chat with property managers and screen them is, hey, are you willing to take on some of these other roles and responsibilities? Well, if no, well, what if I pay you more? And I've got a property manager that I converted into a project manager, and I was paying him a little bit every week to handle that. And I was happy to do so because I didn't have the time. He was right there. It took him 5 minutes to get to the property from his office, and he knew all the crews working on the building anyhow. So it made for a really, really, really nice relationship. That wasn't something that we had seen on the forefront, but we talked about it and he said, yep, good with me. And it worked out really, really well.
Great point.
So let's wrap it up with the tenant cycle and what to expect. So let's first talk by vacant for construction and marketing. So construction is getting the property rent ready and marketing to lease through various channels. So if you've got a vacant property, your property manager is going to get it rent ready, whether that's light construction, cosmetic construction, painting, getting carpets clean, that kind of thing. And then they're actually going to market it, and they're going to do that through likely several different channels. One might be on Zillow, one might be on the property management website, might be Facebook Marketplace. Talk to your property manager about how they market your properties. And then I like to go look at my listings after they tell me they've got it marketed and see that they are actually indeed up on those various channels. Then it looks like applicant screening and lease up. So an applicant is going to apply for the property. Your property manager is going to screen those tenants because they want to find the right fit. Finding someone who qualifies based on income and credit score and credit history and tenant history, all those kind of things that go into making a decision, which your property manager can tell you what goes into making that decision. Then they're actually going to get a lease signed, hopefully sooner rather than later. Once the property is occupied, your property manager is going to be responsible for collecting the rent, managing repairs and maintenance like we were talking about previously. And then lastly, we've got to deal with the turn. And they're going to manage the move out. Your property manager is going to manage the move out, handle the security deposit, and then they're going to look to minimize vacancy and costs because quick turnarounds win. Quick turns win. The lower the vacancy, the better your property's performance, the better the cash flow. So these are the 4 different chapters, if you will, of a tenant cycle. And you can see the property manager is pretty integral to every single part of that process. Alrighty, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching and happy investing.
Happy investing.